Here's how you can do any word in graffiti for beginners and go from something like this to this in no time at all. Let's get right into it. Do you know how to write? If so, then you have all the basic skills needed to give it a try. Here's what you will need: a pencil, an eraser, a black marker or pen, and of course, something to draw on. The first thing is to pick any word that you desire. This is completely up to you, since this basic method I'm teaching works for any word, name, or phrase. Odds are, if you clicked on this video, then you already have one in mind. Let's get started. Now, we are going to turn the basic print letters into a simple tag, like so. For this example, I'm going to be using the word basic. Take a look at the letters on a lettering chart. Notice how they are broken up into three parts: the top, middle, and bottom. Changing the way your letters look can be made very easy by simply adjusting the height, length, width, and angle of your letters. Doing so will lead you to a very simple graffiti tag. Notice what happens when the middle of your letters are changed. There is a lot of detail on this topic. So for now, just choose one way of changing your letters and apply it to all of them. Now practice a few different tags on a blank piece of paper. Just remember to keep it nice and simple. And then choose the one you are most happy with. Now write out that tag on a blank piece of paper, but make sure you leave some space in between your letters. You'll see why in a minute. Now that you have your basic tag spread out on the page, it's time to start building your letters. So grab a hammer and some nails so you can start building. On a more serious note, we are going to build the letters using the barring method, drawing rectangles around all the lines of your letters, keeping the lines centered in the middle with equal distance on either side. Keep all these rectangles the same width throughout. Take your time and pause the video when needed. Also, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any tutorials. Now once you have finished, take your eraser and erase all the previous lines you have drawn. This should reveal underneath a very simple, straight letter piece. I'm going to make some very simple modifications to my letters. I'm going to make the tops of the B, S, and C bigger in size. You can do this for your piece, but just make sure whatever changes you make, it stays consistent throughout the rest of the letters. Notice how the width of the bars are being changed in certain areas without affecting the structure of the letter. Then I'm just going to fix up some elements like the bottom hooks of the C and S. You will be able to tell if you need to fix areas of your letters, as mistakes tend to jump out to your eye. Notice how all the spacing within the letters are consistent, and the middle of the letters all fall roughly on the same line. This is what you want to achieve for your piece. Now grab your marker, because now it's time to outline your piece. There are many different ways you can outline your letters. You can choose between a thick or thin outline. Both styles change the feel of your letters. Here's a quick tip. When you are outlining, pulling your lines towards you allows you to have more control. This will lead to you having a cleaner outline. Spin the paper when necessary, so you can keep control of your line. Don't rush with your lines, as your outline plays a huge role in how well your final piece is going to look. Don't be discouraged if you have shaky lines. It definitely takes some practice to get a nice clean outline if you have no experience with art or especially graffiti. Once you have finished, erase those pencil marks that are left underneath. Now this part isn't necessary, but it can help clean up where the lines connect. Taking a pen and sharpening up all the corners can make the final piece become a whole lot cleaner. If you are using some sort of black marker, it will most likely have a rounded nib. Therefore, taking a pen or fine liner and extending the lines to meet at a point will give the letters a sharper finish. Now you can finish at this stage, or you can choose to take it one step further by adding some 3D. To do this, simply decide what direction you want your 3D to be casted and draw straight lines that are all the same length on all the corners throughout your piece, going in your chosen direction. Use a ruler if needed. The different types of 3D will be explained in depth in another tutorial. This is the most basic explanation of how to add one-point perspective to your letters. Double check that all your lines are going in the same direction and that they are the same length. If these two things aren't the same, the 3D will look very wrong. After that, connect those lines following the same contour of your letters. This will then bring your 3D to life and make your letters float off the page. Double check that you haven't missed any parts before moving on with the next step. Once you have finished, take your marker once again and black out your 3D. Make sure that you don't leave any blank spots in your 3D. Again, this part is optional. I like to outline around the outside of the whole piece, to give it some more definition and to create some different line variations within the piece. And then once again, taking your fine liner or pen and sharpening all the corners to create a nice clean finish, smoothing out any errors. Now, you have almost finished your piece. It's time to add some details. At this stage, there are many details you can add as far as backgrounds and elements to your letters, which is another video in itself. For this example, I'm keeping it as basic as possible and just adding some basic paint bubbles, keeping space in between the bubbles and my letters. Whatever you add from this part here is up to you. There is no right or wrong way, since design and style is up to the individual. This is just a very basic example for you to get started with. And there you go. You have learned how to turn any word into a basic graffiti piece. Comment the word basic if you made it all the way until the end of the video. I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial.